I've got this Coleman hyperflame, I think it is. It says hyperflame. I really like this stove. I might do a review of this stove at some stage. G'day everyone. This is a Coleman camp stove. It's a Coleman Gladiator. It's a 2-burner stove, and in this video I'm going to do a full review of this stove and I'm going to teach you how to use it. Rightio, now the Coleman stove looks a little bit complex, but it's not. There's one clip on the front, unclip that, lift it up, and it's open. Now over this side you'll see a latch that goes down into this little groove here, and that just stops the wind from blowing that closed. It keeps it open, holds it open, and it also acts as a wind guard, so you can move the stove around whatever direction you need to make sure the wind is blowing into the back of that. Inside it you'll have a hose, and you'll have that thing. I don't know what you call it, but basically that's to get fuel to the stove. So that's the stove, and that's what you'll find inside it. You'll see also here it's got a really fancy design here. I think that's to stop the wind from getting into the flame. I'm not really 100% sure. It works, it's effective, but it's quite unique. Anyway, there's the stove. Let me show you how to set it up. Now down here on the right hand side, you'll see that's where the gas line goes. This goes in there, not the hose. The hose does not go straight into the stove. Now this stove, one of the best things about this stove is that you can use it with a refillable gas bottle, but you can also buy disposable gas cartridges, which I'll show you shortly. But first of all, we'll set it up with the refillable gas bottle, sorry. So this always goes in there, never the actual hose. You put that in, then you screw it in. Now that is in place. Now the hose screws into this end. This is the hose that comes with the stove. The big bit screws into here. I'm not sure whether it's left-hand thread or not. For some reason, a lot of gas appliances seem to come with left-hand thread. This one isn't one, but I think the bit that goes down the other end of the stove is. Now I'll pan down to the gas bottle. Now down here, the other end goes on here. I think this bit might be left-hand thread. Here it is. I could never understand why they need to make things that screw backwards to do up tight. Now you want to make sure they're all tight, and then you're ready to go. So that's basically the stove set up and ready to go. Rightio, so the stove's ready to go. The first thing I've got to do is bend over here and turn the gas on. I always turn the gas off at the gas bottle each time I use it. One of the things I really do like about this stove is that it's got piezo ignition. It's got a button here, a sparker. So I'll turn the gas on. There we go. Now we're cooking with hot gas. And I can do the same this side. There we go. Two flames. You can hear them roaring away. I'll put my microphone down close. Not too close or I'll melt the microphone. So they are going well. Okay, now I'll turn them off. One thing I have noticed, there's a little smoke coming off this one. I've only used this one a couple of times. I always seem to use this one. One thing I have noticed is I use a great big cast iron frying pan, and when I sit it across that flat surface, it whistles really loud. It must be something to do with the design of the this holder here. The design of it must just create some kind of a crack for the air to squeak through. Once the cast iron frying pan is hot, it stops whistling. Anyway, now what I want to show you next, and I touched on this a moment ago, is that this actually runs on 2 different types of gas bottles. What I can do now is I can turn this off. I'll turn it off there, and I've got to unscrew it here. You've always got to be really careful when you're working with gas to make sure that you have turned it off and haven't just turned it on full bore. Right, now these are the portable stoves. These are much more expensive. That's $14 to buy that outright. Whereas the big 4 kilo gas bottle that I just used, that cost me $16 to fill up at Adventure Camping and Fishing yesterday. So $16 for 4 kilos of gas, plus $35 outlay for the bottle, or $14 for whatever that is, probably not even 1 kilo, whenever you want to use one of these. So these are not the most economical way to go about it, but they are certainly the most compact. So basically, take it off there. Now, a bit of a hurdle that I hit when I first done this, I found it very hard. These don't just go in and screw up. Sometimes they do. They can take a bit of getting used to it. They can be really tight. So I'm having issues getting that on there now. And this is one problem I have had with this stove, and yeah, I've got it now. They can just be a little bit fiddly, I suppose, is the best way to put it, putting that on there. But it's on there now and it's ready to go. So that can be a little bit fiddly. Now, same thing as before. I just go and push the piezo ignition, and away she'll go. There's no on-off switch on them. They're always on once you plug them in. There we go. 2 really good burners. Rightio, so that's basically everything. It's quite a basic stove, really. Now, the one thing I am confused about, on the back here, it's called a Coleman Gladiator series fryeknight, and down here it's hyperflame. So I don't know whether it's a Coleman Gladiator, a Coleman fryeknight, or a Coleman hyperflame. That's a little bit confusing. But that doesn't affect the performance. It just makes it a bit hard to title this video because I don't know what it's called. It's a great thing. It's very strong. It's very solid. It's very robust. The thing I like the most is that you can use these little canisters. I think that's a really good thing. That's not a gimmick. I think there's a very good. You might not have enough money to buy a gas bottle and get it filled up and buy the stove. So if you can pick up the stove, and I got mine on special from Anaconda in Albury a couple of years ago, it was half price. If you can pick up the stove on special and just grab a couple of these gas cylinders, you've got enough to cook for a while, and you can take them camping, cook your tea, whatever. Then down the line you can buy a gas bottle. And then if you're going out on a family barbecue or something, you don't have to take the huge big gas bottle, you can just take a little cylinder. So I really like that. That's a huge plus for me. The only thing I don't really like about it, the flame control isn't great. It can be very, very hard to keep this on a low flame. You can have it roaring, no worries. It throws out a stack of heat. This throws out way more heat than those little portable butane stoves that just seem to simmer. This just roars like the shallite burner pretty much. So you can get water boiling quick. It throws out a lot of heat, but it is a little bit hard to keep the flame control down really low. That's the only real gripe I've got. Because what happens, these are a bit springy. So what happens, I'll take this off before I tell you, so that I don't fill the air with gas. What happens, that's a bit springy. So you turn that on, it always springs back just a little bit. So when you get it right down low, then it springs back to being a bit higher. And you can't turn it off and let it spring back to being low. So maintaining a really low flame can be an issue. Other than that, I think this is a really awesome stove. I've used it in a number of my camping videos in the past and my cooking videos, and I rate it really, really highly. Coleman Gladiator, hyperflame, fryeknight, whatever you want to call it, gets a thumbs up from me. Folks, before I tell you to subscribe and before I do all my ending stuff, I just want to say a big shout out to Ian from Bendigo. Ian, if you're watching this video, thank you very much for watching my videos. I hope you're well, and hopefully we can meet one day. Ian from Bendigo, nice guy. Alright folks, that's it from me. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you've liked this video. If you have, why not give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and hopefully I'll see you in my next video.